you commercial properties for sale that have recently come onto our property list as well. So for those of you who aren't familiar, we do keep a list of available property for the Fishtown district area. And you can find that list on our website, fishtowndistrict.org.
.com.
My bad. Fishtowndistrict.com, and then you just click properties. And so that's something that I update on a regular basis. If you have an available property and you want to get it listed on our website, you can either just send me the information, or if you see the listing on there, you can also claim the listing yourself. Feel free to send us any other pictures or information that you would like us to add to your listing as well. Henry, I see that you were able to get back on. Would you like to introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute.
All right, are we good now?
Good.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
having a lot of audio issues.
We're connecting to some Bluetooth speaker that I didn't even realize was on. I think we're fine now. So I'm Henry Siebert. This is Ryan Cluley. We're developing 2 sites on like Upper Frankfurt Ave, one on Frankfurt, New York, another on Frankfurt and Cumberland. I believe I sent you, Kay, an email with our 2414 Frankfurt listing. Don't think I've sent you anything about 2525 Frankfurt. Not sure if that's is that in the district? Okay, I will send you another email regarding that. It's a similar size project, just under 900 square feet for that retail space, double wide as well, a little bit wider actually than 2414 Frankfurt. Also white brick building. We're excited about that project.
And do you have any idea what types of tenants you might be looking for, or any specifics about the space that folks who are looking for space should keep in mind?
I mean, the only like kind of caveats, I guess, with our space are, one, it's not like vented. And we do have like walls that you could vent to theoretically if you wanted to put a kitchen, like a small kitchen in.
Maybe on 2414, not 2525.
No, you could vent out to the side.
You can't, maybe,
Yeah,
possibly.
But like ideally, like something more like a coffee shop. I think what that like part of Frankfurt is kind of missing is like a coffee shop, because you have like La Colombe, you know, lower down, but there's not really.
I think Flow State Coffee
They
is what it's called. I'm
closed.
pretty sure they closed, right? Okay, I know Hello Coffee and Donuts
Like
is
very seldom open.
Yeah, their hours aren't too great, and I don't know, you know, people want donuts for every meal, even though we like Hello Donuts.
But yeah, like maybe a coffee shop. Otherwise, like
We were thinking like potentially a bike shop on our 2525 Frankfurt location. I know some of the neighbors expressed interest in that. Basically anything without a commercial kitchen, we're pretty open. You know, in COVID, we'll take what we can get. But it's going to be a cool space. I'm excited.
And like the full frontage of the building on both of them is commercial like storefronts. So I think hopefully if we can get a good tenant, it should kind of provide a nice street presence.
Great. And what's your timeline for these spaces as far as like when you're looking to kind of have things finalized and have somebody moving in?
So like getting a CO, like certificate of occupancy, probably like late May, early June. For both of them, maybe a little bit earlier on 2525 and like a week or two, maybe 2 to 3 weeks later on 2414. Ideally, we'd like to obviously have the spaces pre-leased like significantly before that.
Awesome.
Great, thank you.
Thank you guys. Is there anybody else? I see a phone number just dialed in. Is there anybody else on this call who has a space that they would like to talk about?
This is Brian. I just dialed in because I was having problems with the audio through my computer. So that number it would probably be mine. Sorry for the confusion there.
No worries.
No, you're totally fine. Well, since we have you on audio-wise, Brian, do you want to give us a sense of what you're looking for in a space and what type of business you have?
Yeah, so Brian Zaliga, and I am in the beginning phases of a seafood shop.
Like a market or a restaurant?
Yep. No, like a retail market.
Okay.
So slightly different than a traditional seafood counter with whole fish or fillets, whatnot. So to be very, very specific products that are packaged in a consumer-friendly way. So as I said, I'm starting the process initially. So depending on funding that is or is not achieved, I definitely either way don't need a lot of square feet. And at this point, unless I do get some additional funding sooner than later, I will be using seafood distributors, basically third party, to do all of the packaging for me. So it'll be much more of a storefront similar to a SNAP kitchen versus like a traditional seafood shop.
So how much space
But
do you
even if
think you
I'm
need?
doing work on site, it'll still be more of that type of consumer-ready packaging versus a wet display case.
Okay. And how much space do you think you need?
I only need probably 300 square feet, 400 square feet.
Okay.
And that's even if I'm doing, even if I had the equipment to do the cutting and packaging myself on site. I really don't need a whole lot of space. I could use, I mean, more is fine, but that just gets into the economics of the owners needing more money per square feet that I don't need. So.
And do you have a particular type, or I'm sorry, not type, location in our district that you're looking for?
Not specifically, as I mentioned, ideally, I would have more than one location of smaller footprint than one large location. I do think that up further on Frankfurt is more ideal than closer to Frankfurt and Girard. It just seems like there's the ability to have more foot traffic in that area for this type of business.
Great.
I just wanted to say, by the way, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I do like cook occasionally, and I've found it incredibly difficult to find decent fish not at Whole Foods, which is like far sometimes and doesn't have great selection. So I definitely think that there is a need for this.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the general feedback that I've been getting, and I just, you know, I've spent the last 15 years either in restaurants focusing on seafood or the nonprofit space focusing on seafood, or directly working for importers or domestic seafood producers. So I have a bit of background on what's available, what's out there, and what I think consumers would want, because it's what I would want to eat and the price points that I would want to pay for it, and what I think is fair, and what I've been able to get my 5-year-old to eat as well. So I think if a 5-year-old eating it, people are actually, people who even are kind of interested in seafood would like the quality and price, etc. So.
And also finding like just like like it's easy to find like I guess a piece of salmon, but like anything beyond like salmon, like whitefish, you know, it's like impossible to find, especially if like something like sushi grade, or like if you want to eat it raw, like forget it. It's like it took me like 3 hours. I went looking, couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, so that's kind of the general goal and premise, and that's why partly I think a smaller footprint and ability to have locations in Northern Liberties, a couple in Fishtown, etc. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's the right type of way to go versus one large shop. So
I mean, I think Henry was saying you're looking for 300 square feet, right?
I mean, from looking at spaces, I think that's all that I need, because again, with the way I'm packaging the fish, you'll be able to, or I will be able to put a lot of revenue in a small space.
Yeah, I think 300 may be kind of tough to find. I'm just thinking because like ours is a double wide lot, and we're getting to like 845. So even a single wide lot, you're probably still at least like 500 square feet. I think
With like the CMX2 30 feet in depth requirement.
yeah, you're probably like, I'd say your minimum size you're going to find somewhere on Frankfurt Avenue, unless they've subdivided it significantly. It's probably going to be around 500 or 600 if I think. So I don't know. I know there's that building going up on, that's going to be big. But is it the one on Frankfurt and Trenton?
Frankfurt and Trenton, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. There's some other projects going up, but those have big spaces. Maybe they're going to subdivide them.
Okay, yeah, all that's good,
Yeah.
helpful information as I work through the process. And most of the places I've seen are in the neighborhood of like 1,100 square feet, which again, I think there's ways to work through that. But it's just more of a short-term funding situation. And maybe I'll get funding sooner than later, and then that conversation is a little bit different.
Looking at per month, ideally.
I'm sorry, you broke up just a little bit.
I said, what are you like willing to pay per month in an ideal scenario?
I'm still working through all of that. And so I'm going to have to evaluate, for example, there's someone who has quoted me an unnegotiated price of $650 a month in a space that size-wise would work. Not exactly the location that I would want on Girard, but the difference between that for getting started when I'm looking at multiple locations versus $2,600 a month for something that's in a slightly better location. So I just need to kind of evaluate what's going to be available, what I think that's going to translate into my ability to be successful.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think definitely that 600 a month seems like a pretty, I mean, obviously Girard is not like what Frankfurt is in terms of retail, but I think if you want to be on Frankfurt, like at least 35 to $40 a square foot for a small space like that annually.
For
newer construction, I'd say it's probably where most people are. In Upper Frankfurt, maybe a little less. Definitely like closer to Girard. Like I've seen people even higher than that. I don't know what Josh. I don't know if you guys know what Chu is paying Josh.
A lot better.
Yeah. Seems like a great idea though, for sure.
Mhm.
And while I have you guys, just as I'm working through this process, if as I get a little further along, if there's opportunities for like a pop-up, kind of like what 1-900 Donuts is, or 1-900 Ice Cream is doing, to use your space as like a pickup for something. Again, I wouldn't be processing anything on site, but certainly happy to evaluate that with you guys as well.
Yeah. Why don't I'm sure I can get. Why don't I just get your email and I'll send you an email and we can like maybe figure that out if depending on like what's going on with like our leasing situation.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Let me just take it down.
I say, why don't you guys go ahead and put that in the chat?
Or yeah, that's probably easy, honestly, if that's possible.
Put mine in here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know if you needed anything else from us for your,
No, I think
Uh,
the email I got looks great. So I think I have everything I need to get that one up today too.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Great,
How
well-
are things generally, when it comes, I guess, do you guys mostly just deal with like the retail side of things? When it comes to real estate?
Yes and no. So we list residential properties as well. I will say that residential rental is a little difficult for us to keep up with just because, you know, those listings usually fly.
Yeah.
But you know, we try to post anything residential as well. So if you have a residential unit that's coming up that you want us to advertise, always send it our way.
Sure, I mean, I guess, I mean, we're working obviously with like, what is it called? Philly Living. I don't know if you've heard of them. But we're gonna have 12 units on top of those buildings that we're gonna be leasing around the same time. So I guess maybe you can put those up as well. I'm sure they'll have a bunch of marketing material as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. And if
It
they,
seems like things,
I was just gonna say, if they have a an online listing that they create too, you can always send that over to me and I can just pull from that.
yeah, they do. They will. They're making it. We're still a few months out from releasing, but I will have.
Cool. All right. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to share on today's call? Well, I think that this was a very productive meeting, and I wanted to thank you guys for hopping on and giving us your time. And as always, if you have any other questions or if there's anything else that we can help you out with, we're always here. So shoot us an email at any time.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
It was
great day,
pleasure meeting
everybody.
you. Thanks for your time.
Oh, what was